Students beginning the process of building the nightstand. Okay, I'm looking at the nightstand here and wondering what I could do better. Some things that I'm considering are making the feet less wide, maybe taking off a little bit there. It just seems like on the side that the feet look really wide to me. So considering that, another thing is trying to match up the wood grain better and the color. Notice how dark this is and how light that is. At least I matched the doors the same way. Light style, or styles are the vertical, those are the dark. The rails are light on all four, so that kind of matches. But I kind of would like it better if they were all the same color. They're both red oak, but red oak can differ a lot in color. So when you're picking out your boards, you want to keep that in mind. Make it look like, as much as possible, like it's all out of the same tree. Okay, and there may be wood that varies that much within a tree, but it sure I think would make it look better if it all looked like it was the same color and grain pattern. So for example, I've got a bunch of white or red oak here, and I wanted to show you the difference in the grain pattern in just a bunch of boards that I picked. So this would look like plain sod, okay, as far as the grain goes, and it's got a nice reddish tint. Plain sod as well. Plain sod, see the grain pattern there? But look at this over here. This looks more like quarter sod, doesn't it? According to the grain. And quarter and quarter. This one, yeah, could be, it kind of does a combo. And this has a really unique pattern to it. Really like that grain pattern. But I want it to match whatever else I'm doing. So got to be careful with getting a really unique board. We're also looking at defects. Okay, we want to be able to cut out all the defects in the board. So we've got a big nasty knot there, and I see one up there as well. Okay, when you pick a board, you want to look at both sides. One side may look really clean, and this one does, but some of them maybe not so much. See that? But I think we can plane that out. There's a big defect and some stain on that end. All right, so plan of procedure here tells us to mark out the panels first, the 3 panels, which is the top and the 2 panels for the doors. Okay, so I've got them out here, and I'm having to go through my plans. These are several years old, and I may be making changes. Some of these dimensions didn't match up with the other dimensions, so I've got to work clear through it again and make sure there's no issues with accuracy before you guys start doing yours. Okay, so my top is 26 by 18. Okay, then there's a bottom, but that's made out of plywood, so we don't have to glue it up. And then my panels are 7 3/16 by 11 3/8. So as you can see, I've got my top laid out. It took just a little more than 2 pieces, so I had to lay out a third. So most of this board is going to be for the top. I wanted it as clear as possible, for being it's the top most visible part. So I picked the best board for that. And then you can see there's a little bit of color difference, but this is going to be for the doors on the front side. And sometimes there's a color difference just between switching from side to side. So I think there'll be a close enough match as far as the doors go. And I've got the raised panels and the door rails and stiles. So that door, all the parts will come together and look like it came out of the same board. So that's my plan. You can see I've got my board feet figured out. Okay, it was 1 board, is the quantity, thickness was 1, width was 8 8.625 or 8 5/8 by 96 inches long, divided by 144. And yeah, we've got just under 6 board feet here. Okay, and this one was a little over 4.5 board feet, 4.6 board feet. Okay, notice how I've got my parts laid out. Every part has to have a name and its finished size. Then your marks are going to be measuring rough size. Okay, so you always write the finished size, but your marks are a rough size. So before you cut your boards up, I have to check it, and I'm looking for those. I want to know the part name and the part size, and then I'm going to add an inch and see if you did it right. So mine should be 27.5. Let's see if I did it right. That's right. Okay, so that's what I'm checking. Every part before you can cut a board has to have the part name, finish size, and then the marks are rough size. No guessing what it's for. I'm also going to look to make sure you're using the entire board, okay, that you're not wasting a bunch of wood. So I think you would agree, this one, I've got this much left over. I'll have to see if that's big enough for a part or not. If not, that could go into the short end rack for somebody's plaque. All right, let me put this on and we'll start the process of making a panel. Okay, let's take it over. Let's focus on the top first. Let's go turn our vent system on. And here we go, starting to make that nightstand. Whew, my board's getting away from me. All right, so straight enough edge on the fence, right? Our straightest edge always goes up against the fence. I think both of them are probably ripped straight enough. Notice I'm taking off the first edge. A lot of times there's cracks and splits in the board. Sometimes you can't even see it. Here we go. Nice and slow cut. It's locked down as it should be. And my board's running away again. Wonder if the floor's level. Finger 6 inches, nice and slow. Just far enough to make our cut. And back slow, and it blows our strap piece out. Let's see how strong that is. Hey, there wasn't any checks or splits in that one. That's pretty strong. All right, I've measured twice, so I know that's my mark. First part for the top. Always best to keep your tabletop clean. There's my next mark. Nice and slow. Just far enough to make the cut. Nice wide boards. We're going to have to cut those on the table saw, aren't we? They would warp on us. All right, there's that. Short end rack for this one. Put it there for now. Okay, people, here we go. Our panel's gonna wanna warp that way, right? So if we rip it in half and flip it, they'll work against each other. One growth ring up, one growth ring down. I've got it set up at 4 inches. That ought to be about right. Straightest edge against the fence. Groove is not showing. Have to use push sticks. One in front of the guard and it stays there, keeping us tight against the fence. And then we push it through with the right one. The right one needs to be on the guard half, not against the fence, so we can keep it tight. Push it till it drops. Straightest edge against the fence. No defects really to speak of. Same thing. Left push stick keeps us tight. Right push stick pushes it through. Straightest edge. Notice how on the back push stick I'm lining up closer to the fence or to the guard than I am the fence, so I get that angle and I can keep it tight to the fence. You might remember, if we don't do that, when we put the push stick up against the fence, it pushes it away from the fence. But if we stay out closer to what would be the guard, we have more ability to keep it tight to the fence. All right, let's see what we got here. We know we need about 19 inches total width, right? So not quite enough. We're gonna need 5 boards, aren't we? I'm thinking I'm going to take these wide ones. These are all 4. And rip them down to 4 as well, so they all match. Got a little bit of rough here, so I will use that as scrap.